Hey folks, working on a Moto Guzzi Norge 1200 today. We've got a fork job to do. These forks have seen better days. I'm just going to give you a step-by-step kind of walkthrough of the whole process of rebuilding some forks, starting with removing the front wheel and getting the forks off the bike. From there, we're going to clean and inspect the forks and disassemble, rebuild, and install the components back on the bike. The first job is getting all this hardware off the bike. We'll go from there. If you ever wonder what you should do with your leftover hardware when you're disassembling something, we usually just put the hardware back in to the component itself. It's not that we don't remember where it goes, it's just that we don't want to lose this hardware. It's very specific hardware. So we install it back into the component that we pulled it out of. Keeps it off the ground, keeps it from anybody losing it, and more importantly, we know exactly where it goes and that it's accounted for. When we got the customer's forks off, they're super dirty and grimy, so we went ahead and pressure washed them, make sure they're super clean. At this point, we're here inspecting them, got them partially disassembled. Next step is we're going to remove these dust seals. Under that is the fork seals, but we will need to unlock the screw for the dampener at the bottom. That'll allow the fork to come apart. Once it's apart, we'll clean it, inspect it, slam it back together. But those doing this at home, you can just get a little screwdriver and just wedge it up under here. Be as careful as you can because this is aluminum and your tools are steel. They will mar the aluminum up. Once we have everything disassembled, we'll clean it with some suspension clean from Maxima. It's one of the best components we found to clean these forks out. And then we'll reassemble and get them back on the bike. Got that dust seal off. We're just going to go ahead and pop the snap ring up. You can see me playing with it right now. A little bit harder to do this while you're filming yourself and taking off, but there she goes. Snap ring off. At this point, the seal can come out. We got that bottom bolt out. As you can tell, we had just a little bit of fork lube left over. That's why we put a drip tray under it. But the next step now is to really just oscillate this up and down, and it will drive the fork seal out, and we'll be completely disassembled from there and ready for inspection. As you can tell, we still have some fluid inside the dampening rod in there. We've got the fork apart, and this is one telltale sign that the customer had some blown fork seals. You see all that dirt and grime. This ring sits right under the fork seal, and there should be no reason why this is dirty, but in any case, it's super dirty, which means it's time for fork seals. All right, the next step in the process of rebuilding these forks, we're gonna install the fork seals. This product is all balls. We absolutely stand behind them 110%. Great product, great value. Never had any issues with all ball products. Wheel bearings, seals, you name it. Just a great company. But notice on the seal, we got a double lip on the very bottom. That needs to go down onto the fork. And you notice there's a metal O-ring on the bottom of this. This is going to hold the fork fluid inside. So double seal down. Also another thing, when you're installing any type of seal, O-ring, anything in the rubber department, we use Seal Glide. It is a silicone-based lubricant, and what that's going to do is allow this to slide on easy, get fitted up easy, and go into place without any binding, tearing, ripping, pinching, any of those common issues that you'd see on maybe an O-ring or a seal. Anytime you're installing any of these kind of components, please lube them up, get them on. That is the professional way to do the job. We're at one of the last steps of completing this fork. We are going to put the fork spring in. Just want to make a quick note for you guys. Notice at the very top of the fork, the springs are wound tighter, and at the bottom, they're more spread apart. There's several theories on which way the fork spring goes. Theory number one is the tightly wound springs go towards the bottom. That is going to help out with the force and load. That's going to give you a little bit more weight in the spring. The other theory is tightly wound springs up top, and that should help the spring spring back after it dampens. So whatever school you subscribe to, just make sure that you do both forks the same. I personally feel that neither are wrong, It's just what you prefer. Some manufacturers like Showa will do theirs tightly wound up top. Progressive does theirs tightly wound up top. And then other companies will do theirs vice versa. So either way, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure they're both the same, and that should help your forks out. And then from here, we're just gonna button up the cap, adjust it, and we should be able to put it back on the bike.